to Atlantic Ocean, upon me hills to country, to educate, elevate, and promote. Yeah, focus on Liberia, for Liberia, Liberia, for Liberia, yeah. From Monday to Sunday. From Monday to Sunday, it's focused on Liberia. Talk about home affairs, in diaspora, current affairs, reliable information. Education, entertainment, business, sports, advertisement, articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. From Monday to Sunday.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Tenured.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Friday night debate on Focus on Liberia. We want to welcome all our viewers from across the globe. Welcome. We're going to be discussing some exciting current issues tonight. Let me welcome first from G-Talk, Glendy Jane Jr. Welcome, Glendy. On mute, please.
Hello, Dennis. Hello, everybody. It's great to be here. Happy International Women's Day.
Happy International Women's Day. Let me welcome Father Elijah B. Washington. Welcome, sir.
Thanks for having me, and I'd like to also say, like everyone else, International Women's Day, and to all our women, want to say we love you and we wish you well in what you do in your life.
Thank you. Let me also welcome Mr. J. Victor Nabi. Mr. Nabi, welcome.
Hey, Dennis. Thank you. I joined Glending and part of Washington, wishing all women around the world happy International Women's Day, including my beautiful wife.
Thank you. Let me also welcome Reverend Sonia T. Salif, a Sustainable Development Coach. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, ST Salif. Thank you, Mr. Ja, and good evening, everybody listening to this broadcast. And happy International Women's Day to all our wives and sisters and mothers, all Liberian women.
Thank you, sir. Let me also welcome Mr. Jimmy Ismail, who joins us from the nation's capital. Welcome, sir.
Yes, nice to be here with all these fine panelists, especially on International Women's Day. I think we need to go over the significance of this day, at least so that our audience can appreciate why people celebrate this day. But congratulations to all women all around the world. For me, every day is Women's Day.
Thank you so much. Last and definitely not the least is our colleague from Waplo Institute, all the way from Telephone Kanweken in River G. Welcome, sir.
Dennis, it's good to be here. And I want to add my sentiments to those of my colleagues who spoke before me.
We want to welcome all our viewers from across the globe. Happy International Women's Day. And to begin, I want us to first, I want to pay homage to all Liberian women, especially, I too, my life has been impacted by women. I have 10 sisters, two passed away, so I'm 8 now. I live with my sister, and my entire life has been impacted by women. So I love to be in the company of women. Let me salute all our women right here on Focus on Liberia, starting with Glendy, who is right here among us. Want to salute and also pay tribute to Jackie Sayer, Abby Tyler, Carl Famula, Tavina Cole, Martha Washington, and all the women that continue to be here, right here on Focus on Liberia. Priscilla Nyanto from the Noonday, we say thank you so much for your contribution. I enjoy their company. I mean, they bring so much to Focus on Liberia. I want to salute them tonight. We'll now use this time for us to go around the room. And, I know our families, our wives, our mothers, who says we salute them on this day. But let's take 30 seconds each to just pay tribute to Liberian women. Just pick a woman in your life and let's get it going. Let me start with Pastor St. Salif. You're muted, sir.
My bad. Thank you, Mr. Ja. On this day, I have one wonderful and dynamic Liberian woman that I want to pay tribute to. And she has gone through so much in life. I mean, as a mother of 5 children, single mother, she had, I think, 3 of them before she even finished high school, but she was still able to propel herself, in downtrodden Liberia at the time, and she joined the radio broadcast network in Liberia, and she started her career from, I think, Star Radio, and moved over to the Women Democracy Radio, where she grew until she became the executive director there. And she was able to finish high school at the age of 27, but still kept pushing herself forward and joined the Women NGO Secretary of Liberia in 2016. And she began working on women and participation, women's land rights, and gender. She also served as team lead for the thematic working group in women and youth land rights on the multi-actors platform, and working with the land rights task force for inclusion of gender clauses in the land rights acts. And this person I'm talking about is no other than one of Liberia's great daughters, and she's Elasa Dan. And I want to say to Elasa Dan, happy International Women's Day, happy Women's Day to you. On this day, I chose you as my International Woman of the Year. Keep spreading your wings and keep sowing the skies. Thank you for all your service to Liberia and humanity.
Thank you. And the next one, I want us to be as brief as possible. 30 seconds. Jimmy.
Yeah, I like to give praise to all women, especially my wife, my mom, my sisters, because they actually shape us to who we really are. I know if it wasn't for my wife, many times when I had to leave and go do different graduate programs, I wouldn't have been able to do it without her. But then I give a whole lot of kudos to my mom, who taught me also when I was in elementary school how to read and write. And, there's so much they do. I think we need to do more for our women in Liberia. I want to put that in there, because that will be the change maker when we can get our women better off than they are today.
Thank you. Father Washington.
Well, yeah. I mean, for me, I find it difficult to just kind of point out one woman, or a lot of women who have impacted my life, from my aunt to my friend Francilia, Sai, to my aunt who I lived with. So they're my teachers who were women. I mean, women have played a very fundamental role in my own life. So I just like to all women out there who making the mark on our society, who bringing this great awareness from my social, economic, cultural, and political achievements you made in your life. I just want to say quarter to you and happy Women's Day again. But yeah, I wouldn't want to just announce you
Thank you, Mr. Nabi.
Yeah, Dennis. There's so many women in my life. I would like to, give a shout out to start with my own wife, of course. I'm here because of her. Absolutely. My mother, who's now with us, and my sister, my mother-in-law, and all the beautiful women who are influencing and impacting my life. But more globally, I'd like to give a shout out to this lady. I really don't know her name, but this lady at NASCAR who refused to be bullied, who refused to back down under the pressure of two sitting senators, a cabinet minister, the chairman of the ruling party, all coming to her to effect a hostile takeover, and she did not budge. Shout out to that lady, and she's my international woman for today.
Thank you, Mr. Sharif.
Yeah. So the criteria is outside of our own family.
Correct.
But within my family, it's terrific women. But I'll go outside my family, follow your criteria. But before I do that, I let me just come back to J. Victor's compliment to the lady. I mean, I see nothing heroic in that move. I'm sorry. This whole idea of tenure, these people sitting there not doing anything to hold these offices for presidents who's supposed to have their own appointees. I mean, it's despicable. So I just want...
We're going to get to that later.
Okay,
now
yes, sir.
Here's tribute.
Right. Okay, yes, sir. Let me go on. Look, I want to go back deep. I want to go back to my fifth grade teacher, Mrs. Davis. Mrs. Davis, wherever you are, I got into the fifth grade AG in Zwedru, and I had come from Kalipo, and this guy, I just came to the big city, to a decent school now, to an urban school now, and so Mrs. Davis, because I was so good in her class, so she took a special liking, I think, in me. And one day she asked me, so when you grow up, after all this is said and done, what are you going to do? And I knew nothing. And I said to Mrs. Davis, like my father or my uncle, I'm going to buy a truck, big truck. I want to be riding, truck across, just, I used to like that kind of thing, like people traveling from different cities and different things. And so she laughed. She said, can you go tell your father, your Madingo people, so you can do something different? But she was terrific and very hardworking, diligent. She was expecting that year when I met her, and she was in the last month of her pregnancy and still coming to work, putting in the hours. You don't find people like that anymore, I don't think. So, Mrs. Davis, hats off.
Thank you. And to the only lady on the panel tonight, Glendy.
So I want to highlight one woman, a young woman, a little sister of mine, Hawa Metzger, from the Lady Justice Forum. Hawa is very passionate about what she does. I look to her. She doesn't like to be called an advocate. She likes to be called a justice defender. Hawa follows after cases. There are lots of cases that people with children who are raped and abused that she follows after. She connects with the family, and she's doing this all alone. And people trust her judgment, and they continue to follow her. She's very outspoken. I'm extremely proud of Hawa and what she does. And so on an international front, globally, for a woman outside of my family, I want to compliment Hawa Metzger for all that she does. Thank you.
Thank you. And I thank all of you again. Happy International Women's Day to all the women, especially those ones that continue to hold the torch for us in our dear country. Tonight, we're going to be covering a wide variety of issues affecting our country. Number one, will the UP government deliver on asset recovery? This is a black and white issue. Answer me yes or no and why. Number two, and the background of that is the asset recovery executive order has been issued. The team has been formed, that task force, and they're ready to work. Will this government deliver? Number two, there's a lot of things on tenure. President Boakai started replacing tenure officials, and that has caused some hiccup. And so they went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court has put a stay order. Our own colleague, Dr. Emmanuel Ure at EPA, which is tenure, he started work, but a predecessor, Mr. Wilson K. Tapper, went to the Supreme Court for a stay order, said, stop this guy from acting because your Supreme Court says so. So we're going to be looking at who wins this whole tenure battle. Is it President Boakai, the tenure officials, or who wins? Number three, Simeon Fremont said President Boakai lacks the energy and capacity to lead. We're going to be looking at that as well. Do you think so? Do you believe that President Boakai lacks the capacity and energy to lead? Those are the issues we're going to be looking at. Let's start with asset recovery. The group has been formed, and let me start with Mr. Eastman. Mr. Eastman, do you think the government is going to deliver on asset recovery? Mind you, President, we are government failed in that direction.
Yes.
Mr. Boakai is picking this up.
They failed miserably, and it's not because the personnel were not capable of doing the work. But once they got involved and started bringing the evidence in, all of a sudden it was halted and aborted. And you kind of wonder what's the conscience of the government to stop such a task. Now, what I noticed about the Boakai's team, I think it's a 15-member team. And, Ja, when you're setting up something like that, I don't think he should have packed the team like that. I think he needed a skeletal team and slowly build the team as needed. But to have that many people on this team, I think you packed it. You don't give the managers enough chance to hire the kind of personnel they need, because sometimes you have to identify the right personnel for such a task. And now you've tied their hands because you got so many people on it. And in addition to that, some of this may need to be outsourced because the resources, there are resources out there that you can leverage to bring assets in where you don't have to pay people salaries, because they can work on a percentage basis, or a basis where that what they recover they can pay pay themselves. So I think they overdid it. I don't think that was the right approach, though it's a good idea. But I think they overpacked that team. It's too crowded, especially I don't see that many besides our man Alex, who we know on this platform to be a person in expertise of that sort. I don't see anybody else like that. So I think they overdid it. So
the question is, will this administration deliver on asset recovery? Yes or no?
It's not a good start. Not the way I see it. It's too packed. It's cumbersome. It's not going to work the way it is.
It's
so
not
they're going to have to reform.
That's what I'm hearing. Let me go to Pastor S.T. Salif. Asset recovery. Will this government succeed?
Yeah, let me just start off from where Jimmy left us. He made some good points, but I think the number 15 is, I think it's a good start. The number, because if you want a robust activity, the 15-member team is a good number. It's a lot of work to do, and just few people doing that job might create some other hindrances, but the 15 is a good place to start. My concern is I don't think it's going to be effective given Liberia history of impunity, and besides that, some of the people on the team, have they been involved with previous administrations like the Ellen Johnson administration, the Charles Taylor administration, the Weir administration, turn over their own assets when they were leaving their own position. So given our culture of impunity and given the we operate also this buddy system. Oh, that my man. You see, the same way they do confirmation in the house. People are not even technical to really get to the nitty-gritty. People just pass their friends along. So some of those things might create hindrances. So there could be a thing. It will be very extensive.
Will they succeed?
Minimally, they could. It depends on what they do. If they have the will, they can succeed if they do the right things. But for now,
they have the will? Do you think they will succeed based on what you know now?
Based on what I know now, grading the JNB administration for the past 45 or going on 50 days, I don't think they will succeed.
Let me go to Glendy. Would this asset recovery team, would President Boakai and his team deliver?
I think they will. I think they will deliver. I think we're being very sensitive prematurely. The only thing we know about this group is that they have 15 members. There's no term of reference yet.
Yeah.
The other thing that we do know is that they may be auditing only the time frame of President Weah. So based on that, what do we know to now come and say that they're not going to succeed? The other issue, I keep hearing people say, oh, we don't have qualified people. We don't have qualified people there. You don't know the term of reference. You don't know if they're going to consult with a firm. You don't know if they're going to hire a firm. So we can't be outrightly saying that, oh, based on what I've seen. What have you seen? You've only seen that there's a 15-member team that they've been asked to do asset recovery, and they have not even given them a scope of practice yet as to what they're going to be checking on. Last thing I want to say, we all know Alex Gov't. Alex Gov't is in the position of senior advisor. And if Alex Gov't, you know him, and if people know him and know who he is, if he is advising, I'm pretty sure that he's going to advise them in the limelight of saying, let's get people who know what to do with this audit because it may need some forensic work. Let's make sure we have a qualified team that we can contract with who can train the Liberians on the committee. So for me, I'm not being pessimistic. The fact that they've done this as one of the first things, and this is something that with all of the negatives that they've had so far, they ought to work on this and make sure it works. So I'm hopeful that this will succeed.
And what tells you so that this is going to work?
Because this is the reason why I'm saying that is when you look at you can also look at Councillor Martin, know his history, know the kind of person he is, know where he's worked before. But I am basing my decision on the fact that we also have them setting up this committee so early in their governance, so early in the team. And then there is at least one person there that we know that meets the qualification to be able to carry out this process. So that's why I think they will succeed. Because Alex Gov't does not put his name on anything or agree to anything that he knows that is not going to be authentic. And based on that, I'm going to say that.
Thank you. And let me take you back to the executive order. The executive order kind of spelled out what this team is about. And it also identify what they will be doing, identify and trace all of the stolen and suspicious assets within and out of the borders of Liberia, constitute an investigative panel, constitute an effective and robust legal research investigative team, and so on and so forth.
Thank
you. So that's the term of reference right there.
Yeah, but that term of reference said that you can also deduce that within what they've just said there, that there's a possibility that they could contract a firm to assist them who may be occurring with that. That's what I think. We can interpret it however we see it, but I think they're going to succeed with Alex Gov't being on that team.
But you also mentioned of training. If they're going to train, that is why you don't pack the team like you do. That's why you give the manager leverage where he can recruit the people he needs.
You're talking about looking at 6 years worth of information with so many people. You want only 3 persons to be on that committee. I think the 15-man team is adequate, and I think they need a lot of people because they may be doing different work.
He said the 3 should recruit the rest of the people. But let me go to Mohammed. Mohammed, On asset recovery, will the Boakai administration deliver?
This is too early to tell. All I know right now is this should have been the work of the Anti-Corruption Commission. This is another bloated bureaucracy, making government larger and larger, and dishing out positions and jobs, just like a candy. You know, you go to the candy store and the candy man says, you know, to your son or daughter, here, take one just for free. Okay, take one. Your daddy bought something. Okay, take more. This is just, you know, big government. It's not needed. It's a white elephant. You know, we don't need this. The thing that we need to solidify is the LACC that needs to be solidified so that dust is not and mold is not growing on their chairs and computers because people don't come to work. And we need to see LACC at work. You know, so why don't you give them a real job to do so that they're active? Why don't you give them, you know, you form part of this as a, you know, a core group of LACC with the Ministry of Justice, with the Liberian National Police, you know, with, you know, the finance minister, everybody, all hands on, so that people are actually working instead of forming another bureaucracy. So this is too early to tell. Next, the president, as I said last night, the president needs to declare his assets. His vice president needs to declare his asset publicly. You know, his officials, key officials need to declare their assets publicly to make this thing, you know, very genuine and sincere in the eyes of, in critical eyes. If you've not done that, you know, then you cannot extricate yourself from, you know, the works of the committee. So what is the committee going, who's going committee going to want to look at? Everyone else but the president? You know, that's not going to fare well with a lot of the Liberian voters out here.
Thank you. Father Washington.
Well, Dennis, thank you.
Yeah,
I've been one of,
what are you about to say? I'm kidding. Go ahead.
no. I think I've been one of those who are in the past have criticized the leadership of this government, but I think it's a great mood and a great move, and I think I like it. I like that the president has constituted this group, and I mean there will be nothing. Everything you do, everything the president does, everything the government does, there will be people who will not like certain things. And you know, I know, like the whole thing about the reason why do I know the people on the team? I do not know them. Are they credible? I don't know, but I just think that's a good beginning. And what I want this president to do is give them the teeth, give them the mandate, let them do their work, empower them to do their work. Whatever resources they need to do the work, let them do the work. The thing about, you know, why can we get LACC? Why can they get GSC? These are people who been there. They've been working. I've seen situations where they ask GSC to do things, and the various GSC people who were called to do the work, everyone who work on not even with the same people. So the whole thing about the GSC, the LACC, I don't buy it. If these group of people who are put together, give them the team, make them to work, and then give them everything they need, I think they can succeed. And just the president needs to give them the president needs to, you know, have the political will to also push them to do the things they need to do. And I think they can be able to do whatever they ask to do.
And do you think the whole concept of asset recovery, can it work?
It can work. Yeah, it can work. Yeah, if the team that's been constituted, if they're given the team, they're giving everything that is required to do their work, it can work. Yeah.
Mr. Nabwe.
Dennis, the Reverend made mention of something that I said. So could I get a 30-second rebuttal?
But it's starting early tonight.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll give you 30 seconds.
Glendy, I'm copying you. Wait, so you don't want me to copy you? You know, you're the smartest in this joint, so you don't want me to copy you?
30 seconds now over already.
Yeah,
15 more seconds. 15 more seconds. But Dennis, seriously, on a serious note, Father Washington said, you know, LACC, you know, he hasn't seen them work. Okay, so the idea that they haven't worked, okay, the panacea, if you will, is to add more bureaucracy. Okay, the teacher in the classroom is not good. So I'm going to add more teachers here now. I'm going to put more teachers in here. I'm going to take this classroom and put 10 more teachers because this one biology teacher is bad. That's the concept that you're giving me. That's not appealable to me. And I don't think that's going to fly because we don't have the money to pay all these people.
Thank you. And talking about money, the executive order said the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning shall, with immediate effect, allocate and disburse funding based on the budget presented for the full implementation of this exercise, meaning the asset recovery exercise. Victor.
Yeah, listen, I get the points being made by Eastman, by Sheriff, about the size of the team. I think that's a valid point. The concerns about the lack of apparent experts on the team, I think that's also a legitimate point. But I'm going to take the optimistic view on this. First of all, I think it's a tremendous amount of courage that this president has taken in less than 2 months of coming into office to go after the number one problem that is keeping this country down, which is graft, corruption, theft, the stealing of public asset, liquid and physical, whatever. I think it's a great deal of courage. Yes, I don't expect that they will get it right from the get-go. They will make mistakes, but I believe as we go along the way, they will find a way to perfect it and make it work. You just put up the reading in there. I think they reserve the right to bring in additional experts. Yes, I think they will bring people on board. They may decide to shrink the team, the core team, as time goes on. I believe corrections will be made. But notwithstanding, I think this is one of the bold moves that some of us have been calling for from this government. I think this is a laudable step on the part of this government, and I give him kudos for having the courage to set this up as quickly as he did.
Thank you. Victor, optimism alone will not cut it. Good intention alone will not cut it. What do you think, in your view, tells you that this is going to work?
Well,
intention alone cannot say, or bold move alone cannot do it.
I agree with you. I think I indicated the setting up of this thing as early as he did, I think telegraphs to us how seriously he's taking this, which I think also is indicating his seriousness.
We have set it up too, right? And it didn't work. So
I understand that. I understand
something that you can see.
We all know the track record of Edwin Clark-Martin. I think he's done well when he did well at LSCC. Other people have mentioned Ellis Coffey. I think these are serious-minded people. I agree there is a lot yet to be known about this commission, but I really believe just the fact that it has been set up as early as he did, I think it telegraphs the seriousness with which he's taking this, and that alone gives me the optimism that I think is going to work.
Yeah, but Dennis, can I chip something in real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you see, during Madam Ellen Johnson's tenure, she started the LSCC, which was a copycat of the EFCC in Nigeria. That's where she got the idea from, the Economic and Financial Crime Commission in Nigeria. What happened? The EFCC in Nigeria became a little effective because they were given. That's why we can judge the effect or the success of something based on the past. When we started the LSCC, it was a good intention. It was laudable. People clap hands for it. What happened? The president Hussein hamstrung the LSCC because I was in Liberia when I know the LSCC called in Musability when he was at the airport for some corruption thing. The president Hussein council and said, listen, I can still remember that broadcast that she can put her head on the chopping board for Musability. The same Kofi Woods, he was a Minister of Public Works. So when you give people responsibility, allow the process to play out. If they are innocent, they will be proven innocent and they will be acquitted. If they are guilty, they will be charged. But everyone that were invited, the president will step in and personally has been the effect of the LSCC. It's not just about setting up things just to save face. Are we going to let them do the work? So judging from the past, the LSCC, tell me what has been the greatest success of the LSCC in prosecuting crimes, financial crimes and corruption in Liberia. So then you will know whether the assets recovery team is going to work.
Are you saying because LACC did not work, in your view?
Joseph Boakai was vice president when LACC was set up. I mean, it was his administration. 12 years they were there. He was vice president. Tell me the greatest work that LACC has done in Liberia, and then I will have faith that the assets recovery is going to work. You have the LACC. Why not broaden the scope of the LACC? Why not give them more power to be able to do this? You have the GSC, but we go and set up a new thing. We now at the finance minister, we are going to pump more money in something that might not even turn anything back to us. Because in the serious administration, every government asset that is given up is documented. So you know exactly where everything, the company are working, everybody will give company equipment that is record. So I'm not going to look for it. I know exactly who has what, who to call. Where is the record? What are we going after? Is it just the government cars?
No, he said liquid asset and
I understand. I know it's liquid asset. I'm just asking.
Yeah. So you were saying because 12 years ago, Boakai as vice president did not succeed in this. As vice
president, not him in particular. The administration he worked with, they did not succeed, and it's the same old people they recycling. So how is it going to work this time? That's the question.
And let me add to what my brother is saying, Mr. Sirleaf is saying. Not only that, do you have packed this team beside already having organizations in place that can do this job with the requisite experts? You have packed this team and already you don't have the legal experts on there. You don't have investigation forensic specialists. You don't have technology and security experts, financial analysts, law enforcement, all these elements. You've left them out and just packed a whole lot of, well-wishers and support people. I don't understand. If you,
I don't think it's true. Ellis Coffey is not a.
I mentioned Ellis is the only one there.
Hold on, Glennie.
But even if he's the only one, he's there. So why we have somebody there who's qualified? Why we saying we don't have anybody?
Okay, I do understand.
He gave it to Ellis Coffey
before.
But he also talking about law enforcement. There's law enforcement on the team.
Of course, there's the Ministry of Justice. There's the Ministry of Finance. They're there. So why are we making it seem like we don't have the people on there? We have to be able to trust what we have and hope that they will get the necessary qualifications that they need with probably a group that is open with it to help the process.
Yeah, but Glendy, what we're talking about, you're saying, oh yeah, these people, that Minister of Finance, the current Minister of Finance was also Minister of Finance under Ellen Johnson Sirleaf.
So we're talking, we have to move away from we have to be able to move away that he was in the cover. If Ellie Johnson didn't hold him accountable and was not able to carry out this process we're looking at now, and we're hoping that now there's a different team there. We hope that it will work.
I think
before we go, I want to go back to you, Jimmy. What, in your view, what does asset recovery entail that you think the team that has been selected for short of?
Well, you're trying to uncover fraud. You're trying to uncover illegal activities, mismanagement, all the above, and you're trying to recover those things that were taken from the state illegally. In other words, to bring in revenue or whatever they have absconded from the state, you bring it in. That's what it entails. So it is a specific task that requires specific expertise, and it's just like let me put it in the technology world. Dennis, you say you want to build a network, and then you bring people who have never done networking. You're not going to build a network. I have to teach you first how to even do it. So that's what it looks like. They should have started with a skeleton and slowly built a team of experts with the organizations they already have, like the LACC and GAC and all those other organizations, and then they would have had a comprehensive unit. But what they've done now, they've just got 15 people and a new budget and still we lack of direction, because they're going to need other organizations to even start getting going. I think they could have done a little better. They should have slowed it down. It's a good idea, but it should have started in pieces.
But Jimmy, do you know all these people? Which of them is not a networking guy that is being called to run fiber optic? If you look at the list.
So like I'm look okay. I'm looking. I know Alex and the counselor. I think the counselor was already involved.
That's who you know.
Those are the people I know. But all those are like Martin and all those other. All I know, they have done some research, maybe academic fraud and stuff like that. They brought a whole lot of other people who I have not seen them in this particular field that requires the research on you need international relations as well, because you need to learn, you need to be able to recover those bank accounts and those various ways people hide money and hide assets. You're going to need especially you need negotiators and mediators who will come between it. There's so many different types of expertise, and you bring in. I think they should have just slowed it down. Give Alex and maybe the lead there, the counselor, a chance to start recruiting the type of expertise they need. That's how I look at it.
Dennis, I don't want the question you asked Jimmy to get lost in the explanation. The question was, what does access recovery entails? I think access recovery begins with access declaration, because the people who came to public office, who you think took access that you want to recover, what did they declare before they came to the office? What you brought in, how do I know what you're taking out? That's why everything begins with access declaration, and the administration that is going after access recovery, they're not even willing to declare the access. So if I don't know what you brought to the office when you leave in, how do I know what you're going with that doesn't belong to you? So access recovery begins with access declaration. If this administration is serious, let them start the access, and then we know, okay, you're ready for access recovery.
So if I didn't declare an asset 3 years ago, and you know me, and you see me paying 50 houses that my salary, so it's not easy to be able to find out where did I get that money from?
Well, technically, I don't know where you get it from. You did not tell me what you. I don't know what you.
That was not a question.
No, I got it.
Not a question.
I don't know how much you were worth when you were coming to the.
Yeah, so it's not easy to find out. It's easy to find out. You can go to my bank account. You can find it out. It's easy.
Victor, let me ask you this: would it be a good place to start with, like the audit president Boakai promised before, that he was going to bring up forensic audit people from outside, and then maybe start with those that were sanctioned? Would these be some low-hanging fruit that would be prelude to this big task of asset recovery?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I think it would have helped the process. And I think it can still happen. If you know, a number of us here, we found that very, very difficult to understand why this person was so slow in declaring his asset, even though we understand he did now. But we still don't understand why he's not pressing his officials of government to do likewise. Some of them are doing that. But yes, that would definitely help the purpose. But to Father Washington's point, it doesn't necessarily mean that if you did not declare your asset at point X, you cannot be audited when you get to point Z. I mean, all of those, we all know there are electronic, stamps and all these things. Yes, people can still be audited. And this president is saying this bureau, this commission, will investigate former and current government officials as well. He's not just going after past government officials. So I think there is room for optimism here. Like many of my colleagues are saying, yes, these are early days, but I think the intention alone, and again, the message that's been sent out in these early days, I think they all give reason for hope. Yes, you said hope is not the solution. I agree with you, but I'm very optimistic that this is going to work.
And what they can also do is you don't have to work with all 15 of them. I think the leads in this, talking about the Councillor Claude Martin and Alex with the FIU background, can take this thing on and still recruit the people they need.
Absolutely.
Because
And the
a
way
lot of
I
people here look like the same thank you cabinet. I don't
yes.
think they have to still
And
stick with
I fully agree with you, Dennis. I think the core unit of this will be the FIU, the Financial Intelligence Unit, which I think Coffee has experience with.
and
Um, eh,
and they have we have LACC, we have all these people that already compiled documentation that they can use. So
exactly.
it doesn't have to be them alone, right? So they can get
Yeah,
that.
it doesn't have to be them alone. No.
Yeah. So let's move on to our next step here. Is this whole idea of tenure position is going to court. Uh, let me start with Mohammed on this one. On the tenure position, first there was a stay order put on this thing, say, hey, don't go ahead. Now, Mr. Tapper has gone to court to stop Dr. Ure from operating, right? At the end of the day, who wins this battle?
I mean, the court will decide who wins. But if you're asking me personally, what is my personal, reaction to this? I would tell you that this sort of uh, hijacking, positions in the name of tenure is not tenable in terms of how a president should govern the country. Mind you,
That's the current law, though.
yeah, I understand, and I get that. And this is a derivative of previous actions and previous administrations. So it didn't just start now, but at the same time, let it work its way through the court system, so that the court can decide once and for all what to do with this, because this is a constitutional issue. The president is within his purview to appoint at his will and pleasure, and in consultation with the Liberian Senate. That is the reason why you see individuals go before the Senate, and and let's see what happens. But again, personally, me reacting to this, I mean, look, here in the United States, you have tenure professors whose their expressions and scholarships not subject to damnation, so that they're losing their jobs. But in Liberia, you have individuals who are running the EPA, individuals running the National Lottery, individuals running the National Social Security Corporation, all these different, insignificant, I mean, not insignificant, but not really, it doesn't rise to the level of where you should be tenured. I mean, for what? What are you doing to be tenured, to be sitting there for all these years? And can I just say, Mr. Wilson Tapper, Mr. Tapper is like,
Mr. Sherry, as it is now, they're going to court, right? Why did President Boakai start this fight in the first place when he knows that before you can replace them, you have to maybe take away the tenure or take away that law that makes them, tenure, right?
I believe Mr. Boakai understands. I believe he knows that this is going to work its way through the court system. You want to,
and he's going to win.
Yes, you want to make sure that you do something, you disrupt the system so that it works its way through the court system. And I'm sure, I will hope that Mr. Boakai has a backup plan so that, even if the judiciary strike this down, you can go through the legislature and try to change this thing, because, this just produces more laziness. I mean, more laziness and, a lazy bureaucracy. This is what all this is going to now. And I will tell you, Dennis, I was going to Wilson Tapper. Mr. Tapper is a public servant, good, decent public human being. Mr. Tapper has been around for years. If that means something.
That's a different topic. Let me go to Glendy.
You praising Mr. Tapper? I'm
been around for years, so maybe he's saying you can't.
Please, okay, can someone else step in, Mr. Tapper, please?
Thank you. Glendy, this whole tenure position fight now it's gone to the Supreme Court, so stay order. We understand that Eugene Nambwe, he got it caught. He telegraphed this thing a long time, got his money and said, let me take my money and go. So at the end of the day, I mean, I'm looking at Adam, the tenure officials are paid, a hefty amount based on what is left on there. Some say 300,000, 400,000. I mean, this is huge amount, right? They get that and go, or they stay on. Where do you think this fight is going? And so why did President Boakai start this? Is he going to win it?
So we don't know, and the thing we can also surmise that that Eugene Namwe already knew he probably would have been one of those that they were going to replace him, because if we're hearing the different hearsays and story, if they participated in political activities, campaigning publicly, which Eugene Namwe did, it was sufficient for him to say, you know what, there may be a fight tomorrow that I'm not going to win, so let me just give up now. Now, there are pictures around about all those other people who are also campaigning for CDC. That could be a reason. We don't know. We also know that I think some part of the tenure law says that people serve at the will and pleasure of the president. Whether that's true, I haven't researched it. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But I think it's okay for President Boakai, and I agree with Mohammed. What are they doing? Why do you need to be tenure in a position when it's just a corporation? It's not like it's a separate branch of government that you probably, like Chief Justice, that you probably need to be associate justices. You can get a director for any corporation. You can get a managing director for anything. Why do they need to stay so long in those positions and think that this is a thing where they can be replaced if they're not functional?
And that's a fair question, right? That's a fair question. But unless you do away with the tenure law, they say they have tenure.
Right.
So maybe there are reasons as to why. I hope that President Boakai has sufficient evidence and reasons that that's going to back him up for taking him to court. But I think in the end, eventually they're going to win this. He's going to win the case.
How? Because before even the code of conduct, if they violate the code of conduct as they are claiming now, after the fact, they need to go through the a procedure by the ombudsman who has not been appointed.
True.
Right. So with all that, how is he going to win it? I mean, what do you see? How?
But I'm just saying, Dennis, before you, because the tenure position is not something that everybody wants to touch and everybody's want to play with. We come off the precedence of Councillor Martin's situation with CDC,
right?
And he won that situation, so we can clearly say he had evidences, and even listening to him, I think that was where I took I think he had said something to the effect that when you break the code of conduct, and as it relates to you being seen as campaigning heavily for a party, that's enough reason as to why they can question you from remaining in the position. So we will see.
Which one comes first? Are you investigated for that, or you be removed when you go to court? Then they say,
no, you're gonna be investigated. I think when they were replacing
them, they were already removed before that.
Because they removed them, they want to know whether the removal was justified. So they decided to go to court, and it's a good thing that they went to court so that we all would know and know who has to who.
But you removed them without due process.
Say that again.
You didn't give them due process. You removed them.
So that's what I'm saying. There may be justification in why they were removed, relating to maybe they have preponderance of evidence as to the fact that they broke the code.
I know that you were counselor, so you're using the legal words now.
Yeah, but
But Washington, who wins this battle?
I like that.
I mean, ultimately, the president's going to win because he has the power to appoint and to remove people. But to go to court,
no, tenure is not like that, though. Tenure is so because of non-interference, so that's why they are tenure.
At the end of the day, you will still not be there. And the reason why I think people go to court so they can have a bargaining chip. So when I go to court and the court says, "Oh, now you can just remove me," then now we can sit on the table and then I can have a healthy compensation. And that's the reason why I want to go to court. Because if I just
we have a precedent for that. It happened in I think the Martin case, right? Where the Supreme Court rule say, hey, this man has a contract, so you have to pay him, right?
And that's the reason why I'm saying, if you go
so at the end of the day, these people are given like 300, 400,000 and replaced by people that are no different from them. So what's the point here?
Well, because now the appointing power is your priority. It's who you want, who you're comfortable with. That's why you want to do it. So the point is that I have to go to court so that when the court gets this ruling, I can have some compensation. That I can sit on the table with you and tell you I want this, and you can tell me I'll give you this. But if you just gonna come and say, okay, now I want to replace you, and you say, okay, I want to go, then you will tell me what you want to get. So that's why they want to go to court, so they can have some grounds.
Mr. Namari, is this another, wise move, unforced error? What's going on with the tenure? Who wins?
Yeah, I really honestly think this is one of the unforced errors that this government has made and continues to make. And I really disagree with Father Washington. I think they will lose on almost all the cases that are going to court because, first of all, the lack of due process. The court is going to recognize that. Someone was on the other day and they were talking about the court. They like the whole process of a defendant or an accused being given their day in court. So even if you saw the person in other party paraphernalia and all of that, you're not a judge. You can't fire them for that. You have to give them the due process. So I think it was Mr. Surley the other day who was talking about an article written by Professor Kwame Clement. He really makes a very compelling case. And the essence of what he's saying is there is Article 56, which gives the president the powers to appoint and remove. But then there is also Article 89, which also gives the legislature the power to create and also, therefore, give tenure. Now, if you bring the two intentions, the best way out of it is a harmony. Find a way to harmonize the approaches. I don't see why they're antagonizing the legislature. I mean, some of them have already started taking position on this matter. I think they really mishandled this whole tenure thing. The only reason I can think of is the fact that they seem to be in a hurry to reward their friends and cronies, and because even if they may end up paying these people so much money so that they will leave early just to bring their colleagues or their family people in to begin to make money from government. Other than that, I don't understand why. I think this is a very, very boneheaded move. And this president, I think he's trying to find his footing. I understand that. There are times he seems to listen, and then there are other times when he seems pretty headstrong. And I think this is one of the things that he's headstrong on. For instance, the internal affairs minister, with all the outcries against him, he refused to do anything about him. And this tenure thing is really, I think it was badly handled. And I think they will lose and it will embarrass them. And they may have to reverse most of it. You already saw Professor Tape is in court, even though the case has not been decided. But Dr. Yakwawo right now has been halted. He can't do anything until they go back to conference with the judge. I think if there were a clear-cut case, I don't think it would have gone to this level. So to answer your question, I think this is one of the unforced errors that they made and continue to dig themselves in. And I think it will embarrass them.
I just want to respond to Victor. I think
that is and then we go to
so let's assume they win and they go back to work, and the government that they work for do not support them. They're just going to be there.
No, but Father, I understand what you're saying, but
they happen under President Weah. They stay there.
You got to do due process.
No, which I agree. I said, yeah, I agree. So they go to the court. The court say, yeah, okay, you.
And what they could have done was to meticulously plan their cases against each of these people, give reason why they should be removed, and or repel some of these.
No, but the question was, who's going to win? That's the question.
I think most of these employees who are in tenure positions are going to win the government.
That's what he's saying.
But if you allow me to come in,
I want to bring in Reverend Salim now.
My understanding of winning is not in the code. My understanding of winning is that at the end of the day, they will be replaced.
Yeah,
but you pay them.
But
you pay them. You pay them.
You pay them.
So
that for the next couple of years, they got free money.
So Father Washington, if you're supposed to work for 3 years for 300,000,
right,
and you work for 0 year for 300,000, that's a big win.
It is a big win.
Home and get a free 300,000. Reverend Salif, what's your take?
Yeah, thank you, Dennis. I think this whole tenure thing boils down to intentionality. You see, I look at intention. What is the intention of the JMB administration for diving into this tenure thing? They have 100 days deliverable this tenure thing is going to slow them down. They're shooting themselves in the leg, and they're not going to achieve much in the 100 days that they have set to achieve. Now, when it comes to the tenure thing, I was going to make reference to, I read a whole article that Kwame Clement wrote, and I have it right before me right now. And in that, there's a conflict between Article 56 of the Constitution and Article 89. Whereas in the plain text, Article 56, all these cabinet ministers, they serve at the will and pleasure of the president. Article 89 gives the legislature the power to establish autonomous agencies to be able to do things with tenure positions. Now, you cannot use one side of the Constitution to negate another side. Then you put us into a constitutional crisis. Correct. So the Article 89 is saying those tenure positions, the president cannot remove them, even though it's the equivalent to that of cabinet ministers. Tenure.
And you can even be removed for cause.
There's a cause. I was going to come down to that, and there are 3 reasons why they can be removed. These people have not even violated those 3 reasons. You're removing them. Why did we create tenure? We created tenure for stability, for longevity, for continuity. Okay, that's why we established tenure. We don't want these positions that people just keep coming, going. The political appointment is going to not fare well for the state of created. And the question to JMB and his team is, what is your intention? Why do you insist that these people should have they violated anything in their tenure clause that gave you the right to remove them? What's the intention? So Article 89 said these people can serve and the president cannot remove them, even though Article 56 said cabinet ministers can be removed and they serve at their pleasure. But these two are in they get the other. So everything boils down to intentionality. And JMB should not forget, he's not going to be president forever. There will be another election, another president is going to take over. Those people he's putting in tenure. Does he want them to just be dismissed like that? Where are we going? We are creating serious problems.
Dennis, let me come in for a second.
I want Jimmy to come in. Hold on, Victor. Hold on, Victor. Let Jimmy come in. And then we can I want to hear Jimmy's take.
Yeah, but the fact remains that these statutes are laws. They were signed into law. We cannot ignore them. I also read Kwame. He really did address this.
He did a fine job.
He did a fine job. They are laws. So are we going to simply ignore them as if they're not there? And if you wanted to remove them for cause, like as Sam Wallow is saying, if you wanted to remove them for cause, don't you have to establish that? Doesn't it have a process to show that you did this is why we're removing you? You can just get up and go to and show up like they did to NASCAR the other day and say we're moving you.
But it was embarrassing. NASCAR, the boss not there. The boss on medical leave.
Yes, it's there's a procedure. Whether he
boss is on medical leave,
there is a procedure. There is still a procedure to do.
No. But Glendy, even though he's on leave, there's still a process. So
I get that. I'm just saying, but for anyway, we're getting an NASCAR thing because I heard you, Victor.
So should we also remove Joseph Boakai for dereliction of duty when he absconded from the country under the cover of darkness, went to Ghana, and the vice president also left and went to Ghana, and nobody knew where the president was?
So do you know whether they left somebody in charge?
He absconded. No.
Forget about it.
Absconded a big word.
Yes, he absconded because there was we know.
Who was in charge of the country?
The legislature signs off on the president leaving, and there are processes. He puts people in place. The president left the country up to today. We still don't know why he went to Ghana.
And we shouldn't have to guess.
We don't know the flight.
It's such a hard word to use when you already have somebody.
What? He's absconded.
Why would we even do that?
You are avoiding arrest.
Thank you. Why would you even use that word there for him?
No. Don't use abscond.
Yeah, abscond is not just to leave secretly.
Then everyone has more than 1 minute, man.
Every
But
worker
that's the
only
meaning
one
here.
woman. He left the country.
Please complete your thought.
Okay, I concede. He left the country under cover of darkness.
Right.
Up to date, we don't know the flight that took him. We don't know why he went. He said he went for 2 days working visit. He did not go with any official of the government. He only went with family members.
That's a different issue.
Doesn't the president have to inform the legislature before
he has to
leaves?
inform the legislature because they have to approve a budget for that trip. He's going on taxpayers' money. So that was a dereliction.
So you're comparing
we'll get to that issue in the next
segment. The president with a corporation boss who has been on medical leave for more than 5 months.
The same law that brought the president to power.
No, we can't compare that. That's two different things.
Okay,
if you want to deal with the president,
then we're not applying the law.
You should not deal with NAS. Don't compare the president of the country to NASCOP corporation. We can't do that.
And Glendy, and you are right. You can do that comparison. Also, we can say because he was not there, he was on sick leave, so we got to send the party chairman.
But we reached that discussion yet. I can't give my opinion about that.
Right.
You can't assume
but that's what you are implying.
The party chairman
don't say that.
I have to remind Glendon here, it was the same Unity Party people that took President Weah.
I'm not from Unity Party.
But
I'm a Liberian.
The same rescue team that took
I'm not from rescue team. I supported the presidency of Joseph Boakai because I didn't want George Weah.
Hold on, Glendy. But Jimmy, please end your thought.
No, I didn't end my thought.
It's not time for you yet. Jimmy was.
You asked if they will be successful. The past administration was unsuccessful. If that is a precedent, so it would be unsuccessful. But the whole idea is repeal the law. You don't want statutes, repeal it.
Right.
And Jimmy, that's bring me to the question: where is President Boakai going with it? He doesn't want tenure anymore, or what is the Salif talk about intention? Where is he going with this? Should we not have tenure laws, or you saying
repeal it?
No, but the thing is that when I listen to his advice, so I think that's where they are leaning that. They don't really want tenure jobs. I think that's the thing because the article he's
repeal them and then we can do that.
We shall agree.
Because there are a lot of things that are not supposed to be tenure, and then they are tenure.
But Dennis, give me 5 more seconds.
MCSS superintendent.
The ugly part of this whole thing, you can see that it's just a chase for jobs, not to get the country where it's supposed to be, and that is the hurtful part. Everybody just want a job. It's not to move the needle. It's not to make a difference, but I just want a job. And that's going to hurt all of us in the end.
You already heard of the last 6 years. It's nothing new.
Oh, come on, Glendy. Don't say that.
I mean, it's the truth. What did we are doing 6 years? Nothing. So you just started in 2 months and you already complaining when you haven't gone a year? Give the people a break.
So therefore, Glendy, what's your mind on the tenure? Should we replace them for the cost? Or should we have no tenure? Should we? What do you think President Boakai is going with this?
I don't know. I don't know his mindset. I will hope that he has evidence. Because now the case is in court, he will have reason beyond all reasonable doubt as to why these people needed to be replaced. And it's possible that maybe he does not want. One can surmise that maybe he does not want the tenure position. I also think that why do we have these positions with all these years added to it? Some of these people are not functional. What have they done? What are they doing? Who's doing an assessment on them? What have they been able to accomplish in the years that they've been protected under this position? You ask me personally, I don't think they need to have tenure. I think they need to be changed.
And how do you go about it?
Every time. What?
Is President Boakai going about it the right way?
Based on what we're hearing, and this is the thing, I like to be as objective as possible. Prematurely, I'm not going to say he's going about it the right way because we've heard a lot of different things, and also you've heard from the people who've been in a position. Maybe they have a right. That's why they went to court. I don't think
before. No, they won when they went to court. They won the cases.
So the scenario was different though. With Councillor Martin's scenario was quite different. Even though we are government forced him out of his position and he won it. Now these people, there are other issues that is being connected with them. that you can think that maybe Boakai does have some information on there as it relates to breaking the code of conduct, as it relates to all of those things. So we don't know.
Let's take EP and NASCAR, for instance.
And you think the public doesn't need to know whatever Boakai might be, whatever reason that
I think it's too soon for you to know that. Have you ever been in a government?
Why we keep going back to Why we keep going back?
But no, I want to ask you, previous government, have you seen a government wanted to fire somebody like he and told the public we're going to fire John Brown? Or we're going to do this, we're coming to this? No, that's why you have the legislature. That's why you have the senators and the representatives. They owe it to him. He needs to inform them. They are the people that represent us. They're not going to come to you, to the public. They will go to the legislature and they will inform them. If he has not done full disclosure with the legislature, then we should have a problem. But not to me and not to you.
It's already in the court. So why doesn't JMB administration allow the process with the Supreme Court play out?
But what is he doing now? Is he not waiting for it?
Why the court have put a stay on the tenure position, they still went to remove somebody else?
Well, did you consider the timing as to when that was done and what happened when they made the appointment and all of that?
Yes. They went there after the stay order.
Okay, if they went there after the stay order did they write? I look at the letter that was written to the time frame. You have to consider those letters also, and when they did that to stay it. But if, like, in all that I'm saying is, you ask me whether I think they're proceeding correctly. I think there are some missteps that they're doing based on all that we're hearing. I would hope that they're doing it correctly because now the case is in court. Two people also withdrew from there, so we'll see.
This is Friday night debate, and I think we're talking tenure. Let's go to our next issue here is Simeon Freeman, the political leader of the party. That's the he said that's the Movement for Progressive Change. He said the way President Boakai proceeding is not paying attention to his 20 or 100 days plans and the misstep. He thinks President Boakai lacks the capacity and energy to lead. Is Mr. Freeman talking Tabata here, or does he have a point? Let me start with Father Washington.
Simeon be one person who has over the years, I don't know, but yeah, for me, when he talks about the capacity, I'm one person who always talked about the capacity of Boakai to lead. So yeah, on that front, I do agree with him that he doesn't have the capacity, and I always say that he doesn't have the capacity to lead because sometimes I think some of the decisions he makes. How he makes a decision, how he follows up on his decision, sometimes does not inspire me. So yeah, to that extent, I would say yes.
What decision? Let's be specific here.
One, he talked about the first thing he did say was that he was going to declare his assets. He didn't do that at the beginning when he said he was going to do that. He did talk about the fact that he was going to be asked.
He didn't give us time when he was going to do that. We were just expecting him to do it before taking office. And the reason
why I said he did not do that because he said we will live by example. When you live by example, you lead and others will follow. You don't let them start declaring assets before you start doing that. So that's where I thought that was a misstep. Government vehicle, I haven't seen what work has been done. I don't know what recovery that made sense. He made that statement. The one about the inauguration, I haven't seen what has been done about what was done with the money, what report has been given. In those counts, I would like to buy some of the things what Simeon Freeman did say.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Yeah, I don't think it's fair. You know, Simeon was one of those running for president. And I don't expect anything beside criticism because it's the same thing he used to say on the campaign trail. But at this point, you know, I believe that before I say a person failed, they have to take the test. And he's taking the test now. And we will see in a few months or a year or so down the road if he's capable. So I will hold my any kind of judgment at this point until he performs, and after he performs, I will make an assessment. But right now, I wouldn't say he doesn't have the capacity, or he does. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, and when he's making some wrong moves, like this good idea of appointing a asset recovery team, but then packing it with 15 people that you may or may not need in the future, I would say no. You need to adjust this. But in the meantime, I wouldn't say he doesn't have the capacity. I'm going to give him a fair chance and let him perform.
So you think Simeon is talking Tabata here?
Yes, it's complete Tabata. I mean, but you don't expect anything else beside that. He's a political opponent, so he will say things like that.
Mr. Sharif, Simeon, and one of the things he said was that ever since he took over, he said, ever since he took office, he is yet to formulate a proper governmental structure that will provide financial release to ordinary Liberians.
I mean, you can't just make a blanket statement. But before I address that, I didn't have the opportunity to chip in on the final act of the the tenure, when someone quoted the Constitution as saying, that the president cannot remove people in appointed position. That is not correct.
In tenure position, not appointed.
Article 56 gives the power to the president to appoint cabinet ministers, heads of autonomous agencies, so that gives the power to the president. 89, yes, the Senate, can create, the legislature can create, but 89 did not say that the president cannot remove them. So these inconsistencies in the Constitution will have to be addressed by a competent Supreme Court. I will hope that the Supreme Court is on its task to be able to resolve this incongruency in our Constitution, these incongruent parts of the Constitution, so that we can move on from this. And then again, just me personally, this whole tenure is just not tenable again for this government, especially that's trying to find its footing. When it comes to the criticism, I mean, this is what you expect of the opposition. I mean, he's an opposition figure. Does he have a job right now, or have they offered him a job? Probably not, right? So,
Mr. Sharif, even a broken clock is correct twice a day. So,
and also he's an astute businessman. I don't know if you know Simeon Freeman. He's one of the wealthiest people in the country.
Okay.
So what is his basis?
He doesn't need a job. I'm trying to say he doesn't need a job.
Right, but what is his basis? But he wants
running for president, though. If he needs a job, he's running for president.
Right, he wants Boakai's job, right?
Yeah,
so that's the job he wants. Yeah.
So if I will finish my thought, I mean, does he have a job? I mean, if they offer him, say, for example, Minister of Finance, will he not take it? He would take it in a heartbeat. But that's not the point. We need opposition to keep the ruling administration honest. So that kind of politics, it's okay to do that. Maybe holding the president accountable. But we have also seen that if we have been fair to the president, we've also seen that he's putting in place structures of something. You see that he's trying to do something, war and economic crime and, asset recovery, even though I'm not content with how you're building the bureaucracy. My difference with this is that, it needs to be within the LACC and establish structures that you already have. But you see him trying to do something. Like today, I think he's in the Côte d'Ivoire, looking at, some things down there. I think he met with Sharif, who is the director of this electricity project, I believe. I don't know the full details of it. So these are good things to me, if you personally, just looking at what he's trying to do. I'm not content with everything. And you've heard me time and time again on this show.
Mr. Sherry, will you also address the energy part? Because not only capacity, it's energy. He likes the energy, and Reverend Salif, you say absconded, but some of these trips that he's taken, people are saying they are for medical reasons, and because he likes the energy to do the job. So will you factor in that?
No, his decisions have not shown have not shown that he lacks the energy. You can't make that kind of statement. But by what we're talking about, the fact that we're talking about the things that he's doing means that he's aware. When you say he lacks the energy, it means that he's not doing anything. Look, he's making these appointments. He's trying to force these people from George Weah administration out of there. He knows, and he's creating, this constitutional situation so that they can go through the court system. He's in the Cote d'Ivoire. So he's doing some things that, to me, doesn't qualify as he doesn't have the energy. I think he does have the energy.
The president also is going to this country without meeting the president.
Yeah, that is also, that's warranted. He's not meeting the presidents of these countries. Perhaps these are trips that he does not need to meet the president. George Weah was going to Ghana, not meeting the president. I mean, going down there, from what we heard, to visit concubines and stuff like that.
All those were maybe under the cover of darkness. We didn't see him publicly going there to visit.
That's what I'm talking about.
What's that?
Yeah, I said there was no public trip that he made to see, to go after women. We didn't see that. We heard rumors, right?
Right. Was George Weah supposed to announce that I'm going to visit?
No, that's why we don't know. So I mean, it's rumors. But for President Boakai, we see him go to Ghana. We see him go to the Cote d'Ivoire, and he has not met any of the presidents. So
are you sure? He has not met any of the presidents in Cote d'Ivoire. He didn't meet the president.
I'm not sure.
Not yet. Not that we know of.
No, he met the president. Come on.
Dennis, the pictures are all over. I can even send it to you now. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I was confused too. I think he met the president.
The pictures are all over.
No, but the videos or pictures?
Pictures.
Pictures. All right, I stand corrected. But
the president of Cote d'Ivoire even shook the hand of our acting defense minister. She was there.
Both.
Okay. I stand corrected.
They have press too.
Because we want to see a little bit more, but the president. Anyway, go ahead.
You want to see, but Dennis, finally to conclude on that, you want to see a little bit more. I mean, perhaps visiting Cote d'Ivoire on the energy issue is good to me. That is good, and also don't forget, Liberia has a pact with Guinea. I think that he needs to establish connection with Guinea that will, bolster Liberia's security. Guinea has a very strong, army and police force, and in the security sector, that's something that Liberia can benefit from. But you need that under a foreign minister that's aware of all of this. And I don't think the foreign minister is quite aware of some of these things.
Oh God! Oh God!
I'm sorry, Glennie. I'm sorry to let you down.
The foreign minister is aware she's working.
I've been doing so well tonight. I'm sorry.
Victor.
Yeah.
Victor, let's talk about the Simeon Freeman's charges of the president lacking energy and capacity.
Yeah. I have complained a lot about some of the errors that this government is making, but I am not sure if they amount to errors as egregious as to qualify the president from being, qualified to serve as yet. I mean, he's making some moves. Is he a low energy president? Yeah, he is. He's not a bombastic kind of guy, but I mean, for instance, the trip in the Ivory Coast, I watched some of it. I think that is a very, very meaningful trip, given the power outages that Liberia is experiencing right now. If that trip was intended for that, I think that's a good trip. I can understand Mr. Freeman. I think other people have pointed out here he's an opposition leader, but and I think he's getting a little bit. He wants to, get on the road as quickly as possible because some people in this government are already jogging for 2029. I mean, American is not making any secret. So I think Mr. Freeman wants to, he wants his skin in the game as well. But I honestly think it's a bit too early to declare the president unfit. I have said here he hasn't led on many things. I maintain that. But I don't believe he's vacated the presidency to the extent where we can declare him unfit to serve.
Thank you. Mr. Salif.
Thank you, Dennis. I think everybody has an opinion and the entitlement to their own opinion and criticism. Simeon Freeman does have that. My only concern is, we should be fair, measured, and balanced in our criticism. Definitely, we know that Joseph Boakai, and we knew it before, it has health challenges, and the Liberian people, because they were so overwhelmed and overburdened with the George Weah administration, they decided, listen, even if it's in wheelchair, we are still going to vote him in. Now, when it comes to energy and capacity, I think Joe Boakai still has capacity. He's not in cognitive decline. I mean, it doesn't matter. He might be sluggish in movement and other things. FDR, he led America from the wheelchair. Okay, so he still has capacity. He might not, the energy, he doesn't have it, but capacity, as long as he's not in cognitive decline, he still has capacity. He has experience. He's been there with government. He has a good team around him, that he just doesn't have the energy. And that is what other people around him are exploiting. They are exploiting that lack of energy. They're really exploiting to make some decisions that he shouldn't be. Yep, go ahead, Dennis.
What is informing that he lacks the energy? How you know that?
Oh, but just the mere physical movement, you don't need to go. There's not rocket science. You know that physically he's not that well. And I'm very sure that's why he went to Ghana. Now we see the Africa trip.
Hey,
I come in. Glendy, I know you. Glendy, hold on. I know you. No, Glendy, wait.
Hold on, Glendy. You know, that man of God.
Listen, I've been following the whole Africa
trip. Man of God following gossip.
No, it's not gossip. The Africa trip, he went with his finance minister. No, I'm not assuming the Africa trip.
You said you think you went to Ghana for medical to do. You said that.
I think. It's my thought. I'm thinking. I'm not saying why. I said this one I think.
Hold on, Glendy.
No. Let me finish, Glendy. The reason I'm thinking that way, I'm comparing the Ghana trip to the Africa trip. The cabinet ministers, I saw the finance minister, you mentioned the defense minister. He went with other members of his team. The Ghana trip, he only went with family members. There's no picture from the Ghana trip. There's no video from the Ghana trip. There's no press conference from the Ghana trip. There is nothing from the Ghana trip. So when you compare the Ghana trip and the Ivory Coast trip, you know he did not go on a state working visit to Ghana. In Ivory Coast, he's meeting with the Ivorian president. In Ghana, he did not even meet with the Ghanaian president. Glendy, what are we talking about?
The Ghanaian president was outside the country.
The day he was flying in, the Ghanaian president was flying
so
out.
That could be a conflict in schedule, right? So
he met with the vice president.
No. Dennis, there's not conflict in schedule because the reason the Ghanaian president flew out, African heads of state were having a meeting where Joe Boakai himself should have been. The reason being that he had just been inaugurated and not many African heads of state came for the inauguration. So that was his first official meeting.
No, it was not. They already spoke. The press secretary already spoke about that.
What did she say?
The official visit
to Ghana?
He was inaugurated was supposed to be Ivory Coast. That's what she's talking about it 3 times.
Okay, so the Ghana trip was what?
The Ghana was not.
So what was the Ghana trip?
It was a working visit that he went on. The official visit from, I'm just telling you what he said, Pastor.
No, but Glendy, hold on.
Political pastor to your name.
No, hold on, Glendy. We say official visit. Glendy, when they say official visit, it means the president is going with some of his office staff.
And that's why he went now. So in our boats.
No, in Ghana. We're talking about Ghana.
We're not talking Ghana.
Okay.
Yeah, but can I say something? May I say something quickly on behalf of President Boakai?
Are you saying on behalf of him?
Yes, on behalf. On behalf. I know what I'm saying. You know, there's a way you can lead from the rear.
Please say it for yourself and not on behalf of.
There's a way you can lead from the rear. You don't have to be. You don't necessarily have to be like you're talking about energy and all of that. You can provide guidance and support to the team without being in the forefront, and that is what he's going to have to learn to do. So even though you have to compensate. There are other ways to lead. You don't have to be all the way in every different occasion. But you can be directing people where to go, consulting with your heads,
And
making
really, I
sure they
like
have the
that style,
guidance they need.
leading from behind, and that's
But
Yes.
no, but that's not how the presidency works. Presidencies don't lead from behind.
no. You
Presidency
can lead
the
from
front.
behind. Nelson Mandela led from behind. You can lead from behind, and I like that. I too lead from behind sometimes.
Yeah, but the complaints are not that the president is not physically present. The complaint is that he's not leading from anywhere. Look at the appointments. Where is he leading from? He's not leading from behind. He's not leading from the front. He's not leading from the side.
Look at the big mountain.
The way they're handling these appointments don't tell you that this president is leading the appointments. It doesn't tell you that.
Thank you. Let me announce, if you want to join the conversation, this 605-313-6004. The code is 791-403 pound. Reverend Father Washington, Simeon Freeman's criticism.
Well, like I said at the beginning, for Simeon Freeman, I'd listen to him. I mean, Ellington was doing the same thing. I showed George Reatang was doing the same thing. So now I expect him. That's the same thing he keeps doing all the time. So, but like I said, yeah, I wanted this person who, based on what I thought Boakai had done before he even became the president and what he's doing at the beginning of his first 30 days, I just thought, yeah, he didn't have I just thought that he was not a leader, and I stay holding on to what I think. He's not a leader. He's not a leader for me. So maybe others are going to help him to better get his goal accomplished, but I don't think for me he's not a leader. So, but for some of the things that Simeon Freeman said, I think it was too early to. Like Brother Sherry says, it's too early now to begin to make the assessment to be able to make conclusions. But I think the one he talked about, it's I just have a problem with his leadership. Maybe this is the way he leads, but for me, it does not inspire me anyway. Okay, I'm a kind of person who you make decision, you follow up your decision, you do evaluation, and you go back again and do it. And it just make it and just let it go there, and then nothing happens, and we just keep going on. I don't like people who make decisions like that.
Thank you. And let's say again for the record, President Boakai was in Ivory Coast and met with the Ivorian president, as you can see in the picture. I misspoke. You could see Zopeno. Anyway, Grand Judea share border with Ivory Coast. That's Ouattara.
No, I think President Boakai has capacity, but the energy level is not there.
Lead the energy business. People don't measure capacity with energy. Simeon Freeman had energy, but he didn't win. So what are you talking about? He was young. He had energy. He win. The man when he get energy, he won. That's Simeon Freeman go take care of your business and he had leave Boakai with energy story.
Thank you. So before I bring on in the colors, 30 seconds each. President Boakai is doing some groundbreaking stuff here. Would you agree? Asset recovery, war crime court, and the audit, HPX is coming along. Will we say that President Boakai really has this sharp contrast from the previous administration when it comes to this kind of bold move? 30 seconds each, just yes or no, and then we bring in our callers. War crimes court, asset recovery, audit, and all these things. Will we say President Boakai, as really taking some of these bold steps, and we got to give it to him?
Yeah, I gave him 6. I gave him a 6 or 10. Yeah, 6.
Ready now you get the platform.
No, 6. That's
6 over.
Why you can talk about the Unity Party Reverend Chairman too, who led the takeover?
Hey, Jerry, that one.
Then he led up a bit.
I think 6 over 10. I think that's
Let's talk about President Boakai bold moves.
Yeah, those are the war crime court. I keep asking why now, but it's a bold move. The assets recovery, the audit, those are all bold moves. But for me, and keep my finger crossed, because announcement and effect, they are two different things. Until they can do what they announce, I reserve my comments.
Glennie?
Pastor S, what did you say?
ST, yeah.
Pastor said, please don't sit to the plane. He said it to the go back to the plane. The other room where here tonight. I want you to go back to the light. The play
No,
what happened
Glenny,
tonight
listen.
when we can see you.
Let me tell you, one person who wants JMB administration to succeed is me. And so if I'm not critical, then they will be sleeping. I don't want them to sleep at the wheels.
Glendy, your turn.
Well, I think they're a bold step. I think the fact that they've done it so early means that he trying to keep to his promise, because those were things that he talked about during his campaign. One would hope that they do come to fruition, because we're watching, we're looking. So I think they're a bold move. And one of the reasons why I think it's a good thing for him, because those two things they're already making him look like a popular president, because those are things that people, Liberian citizens, especially the War Economic Crimes Code, that's something that they've been wanting and they've been advocating for. So I think they're bold.
Including Prince Johnson?
Including Prince Johnson, who's upset, and also Yaya Nimle.
Yeah, I interview really annoy me. I would just I was the worst interview I ever heard somebody make.
Yeah, how did he get elected?
Yeah, go ahead, Mohammed, since you start talking now. Let's talk about the president's actions.
Yeah, so the president, look, they always say the devil is in the details. So if I get into the details in the weeds, I will take everything apart. But just the way you give this question, I think these are bold moves. These are really, really bold moves. And, you got to give it up to him if you're just looking at it, just in bulk without going into the nitty gritty.
All right. Let's take a 39 seconds break so that you can stretch. We have a health practitioner here who tell us that to avoid blood clot, we need to stretch a little bit. And when we come back, we're going to bring in our callers.
Liberian, God gave us this country.
Indeed, God gave us this country. Let's open the phone lines now for our.
You don't want me to comment before they come in?
You will comment after.
Okay.
They don't like to wait online, then they pay money.
It let me out too, Jimmy, but don't mind Dennis.
Yeah, I will come back. Our first caller is, of course, Elvis Morris. Go ahead, Elvis.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Jai, and hello to the panelists. Thank God for not keeping us on hold for too long today. Appreciate it. I want to first say, let's be honest. We want to be respectful to our president, but at least honesty is even showing more respect. We know that President Boakai is low energy. This is a fact. There's a video on Focus on Liberia where he was talking to the press. I mean, we can barely hear him speak. He's barely audible in that press conference he was having when they were interviewing. So there's no disrespect to say he's low energy, whether that's how he's been his entire life or maybe his old age. Whatever it is it's not a lie that he's low energy. Certainly, I think he has the capacity to lead. The brain is the last thing that goes. So I think he still has the capacity to lead with some, help from his advisors, giving him good information and make good decisions. This issue with the tenure positions, I think we have to really condemn this president. He's been continuously lawless when it comes to the issue of the tenure position. He's even disregarding what the Supreme Court ruled and continuing to send his officials to go to these agencies while this case is still pending and try to intimidate these people, talking about how they are eminent people and there's no need to call. Who cares if you're eminent? The law doesn't care about your eminency. So I think when people go and try to strong arm these people while this case is pending, I think it's wrong, and President Boakai should keep them in check. On the other side, let me give him huge props. I think if he establishes the War Economic Crimes Court, or especially the War Crimes Court, I think that's going to fill up the repository of political goodwill towards the Unity Party come 2029, possibly beyond. It will be, hard going, but I think afterwards the country will appreciate him and reciprocate some political goodwill to the Unity Party. So I think establishing the court will be a tremendous success for him personally and for the Unity Party as a political institution. But I think he should start to, pay attention to the laws and not be seen as a lawless president. But for anybody to say to the contrary that he's energetic, I mean, don't fool us. We all know he's not that energetic. He's very low energy.
Right. Low energy doesn't mean he lacks energy.
Thank you very much. And as a nurse, I'm not gonna say that he has low energy because I'm not doing him.
You'll probably be dead if you have zero energy.
Right.
Well, good for you. He's not going to die. He's still alive.
Nation. Being a nation means you have to be energetic. You have to have the energy to wake up soon, to go to bed late. All those things require energy. We as human beings, we live off energy. So if you're low energy, you're going to be,
Senior Freeman said he lacks the energy and capacity to lead. That's what I was trying to correct.
Yeah, but he didn't say he lacks all energy. There's levels to energy. If you lack energy, doesn't mean you have no energy. So I agree with him on that point. He lacks the energy that's required to be president.
Thank you. Clarence Pearson.
Yeah. Hi, Dennis. Thank you for having me. I just want to say hi to you and the panelists up there. Thank you all for your contribution on the show tonight. Based on the conversation we're having tonight, I'm interested in major situation of war, economic crimes court. I think it's way overdue. I think Liberians have been yearning for this for a long time. My only concern we have, if there's any officials listening, is that we should not be very hasty without addressing this thing with proper guidance and the proper mechanism when it comes to securing the peace and ensuring that the country is not derailed from our current trajectory. Looking at the any position, Dennis, to be very frank with you, I think the government currently, Joseph Boakai is taking a misstep in this direction. I know there will be some who will disagree, as we've heard, but I think we should be very careful. These 10 positions were there for a purpose, and the reason for them is for good governance, for transparency, so that they don't have political interferences. For one quick example, Dennis, think about it. If you remove someone right now, like they are claiming that now they're trying to backtrack and say they're moving them because they are party affiliated individuals, but are you replacing them with the same party affiliated individuals? So that's a contradiction of the intention behind it. On the asset declaration quickly, on the asset declaration recovery and the asset recovery, look, we shouldn't play jokes here. I stand with Sharif on this one here, and I stand with others who believe that we should strengthen the existing structure. The LACC, the GAC, those are all integrated institutions that were put into place to ensure that we do just that. So I would have thought that we would have worked within the confines of established structure, empower them, give them the financial strength they need. The LACC already have prosecutory powers, not only to investigate these cases, but also to prosecute them. So why do we reinvent the wheel? Why don't we just have maybe a technical committee working alongside with the LACC, with the GSC, supporting the finance ministry and the justice ministry? Instead of us, we already have a financial constraint over our budget in our current country, don't have the money. So why are we creating more expense for the country? More KB pay civil servant, overburdening our wage bill again. So that's what I tried to say. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. And for me to leave from Metro Atlanta to go to Sino be superintendent, I think I need a little more compensation than the regular. So that will increase the wage bill, and I want to recruit, or have a say so in those who become superintendent in Grand Gita, River G, Sino, Maryland, right? Because I want us to form the team. Already, if you don't know, I formed the Economic Community of Southeastern Counties, ECOSEC.
There you go.
There you go. It didn't really get off the ground, but those ideas are still there. Let's bring in the next caller here. That's Josiah Nippon. Come on, Joe. What you got?
Yeah. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. I like the program, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, Mr. Boakai I mean, I just don't know. I mean, just how to say, like, maybe we were young boys in the interior, the old people used to be respected because they have wisdom. Age would matter. And, but these days, it seems to be the opposite.
Hey, man, what are you doing with this other one?
With all of those things we are living, we're talking about Boakai today, it should be the least thing we should be talking about. Not only because he is old, but because the time he has been in government. It's a disappointment, complete disappointment of his leadership. And one of the things I think we make a mistake that we find people who come to leadership with children that are older, like even the United States president, the Donald Trump, who have children that are grown. People have impact in your leadership, which is negative to your leadership most of the time. But we don't look at those things because the children tend to do things that frustrate your leadership. But because of a child or children, so you try to have those things, Boakai, all of these things, one of the first positions to give the people, that they put bottom positions through his son.
Amen.
And you talk about
do you have the facts?
But you go back Saturday and the government said that we put a letter that it was live that you get $600,000 and the deputy from Philadelphia. So what I'm trying to say is that the Boakai first failure was inauguration. Setting up those committees and all those things is not what we should be happy about. The result we should be happy about. You have been setting up committees and we're not saying any fruitful thing. And the only thing that Liberian people very jubilant for me, I'm happy about, if they walk around quoting have to go through with top security on the ground, trust me, it will be the best thing that Liberian people will ever remember him. Besides that, nothing else. It's a failure. Thank you.
The man I even made 2 more. You say you failure already. Hey, man. Joe Moyo. Go ahead, Joe.
Hey, Dennis.
Yes, sir.
I've enjoyed the program. 2 days in a row.
Thank you for calling 2 days in a row.
Yeah, there you go. Look, this thing about low energy that I keep hearing, like Guinea currency among the Liberian, the people in Liberia now, this Donald Trump low energy thing. But look, Senior Prima is someone who like to be in the headline. And now, those of us who believe in, who are patriotic Liberians and who believe in democracy, we also believe in giving our incoming leaders, a fair chance. And those of us who currently at this stage supporting Boakai is because of his ideas and nothing else. The quality of his ideas and nothing else. So Boakai being, President Boakai being low energy as some are screaming, copying the phrase from Donald Trump. So some of us is just irrelevant. We really don't care. I personally don't care.
You say we
because
agree.
When did we start calling our leaders in Africa low energy?
Trump changed politics in the world. I said Trump changed politics in the world.
There you go, and that's the wrong person you want to be copying. So we need to take that low energy thing out of our vocabulary. It's not an African thing.
No,
Donald
Joe.
Trump, you copy.
No, Joe.
Well, look, let me just say,
yeah, I know you went to school in the UK, so but we can still use our low energy. Let the people use it. Don't try to tell them what to say.
Yeah, I understand, but I think you see how my disdain for Donald Trump. I think you can tell that.
I know. All right.
Okay, now with regard to tenureship, I feel that it should be for only what they call institutions, organizations of horizontal accountability. I think we call them integrity institutions. Kind of like the central bank, LTA and LACC. I don't see why fisheries should be given tenureship. And that's one of our problems in Liberia. We know how to screw things up.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah. One last thing before I go, and it is with the war crimes court. I just think right now is not the time. It's not it shouldn't be at the top of President Boakai's agenda or priority. It's something that he can visit, at some point during his administration.
Thank you.
Thanks for the time.
Thank you. Some of the representatives disagree with you with that.
We want justice. 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 We want justice.
Is that color? Is that Yanka wearing CDC hat?
That's him. That's him.
Good show tonight. Disagree with the last caller. Talking about the war scrum coach should not be on top of the list. Good thing I'm not a politician, because I'm going to slow down on the Boakai's administration moving forward. Give him the chance, because it seemed like things were going really wrong from the beginning, and now we're seeing things getting back on track and even trying to go further. So and it's still on early in his regime. So some of us would kind of slow down with our criticism and just watch as things unfold. But with the tenured position stuff, I understand a lot of people are saying he went about it the wrong way, and when it happened in George Weah administration, those guys, the tenured people, were able to win their kids. So that might be the same with him. So probably he should have went through the House and the Senate first to see if those laws can be repealed and moving forward. But it's already in the court. We'll see what the court says about that. So the establishment of the Economic War Camp Corps is really important, and the fact that Joe Boakai has brought it forth this time, like one of the panelists said, just that alone, even though we'll wait for the implementation before we give you all the glory, but the fact that has been discussed and passed by the House alone, it started making one of the popular presidents in Liberia. And that is a good way to start.
Thank you, President. Thank you. Those are all the calls we have. And so let's start with Victor and Jimmy. We have some unfinished business.
Yeah, Big Victor, you want to go? I'll go.
Okay, Jimmy. No, I think we were talking about what is it? Whether the
War Crimes Code and the boat steps and all that.
Right.
You said you didn't have the chance to talk. Okay.
Yeah, I like to, like I said, I'm taking an optimistic view on these. I think I am one of those who thought this president would not have the courage to stare down some of his coalition partners. But the fact that he has publicly declared that he's committed to the setting up of, the War and Economic Crimes Court and now the asset recovery. So I think I like to give him a pass on these. I think he will succeed. It is going to be difficult. I mean, let's not make any mistakes about it. It's going to be difficult. Mistakes will be made. But I think the very fact that there seems to be this commitment in these early days, I think speaks a lot.
Thank you. Jimmy?
Yeah, I agree that Boakai is making many very bold moves. They are bold and ambitious. War Crimes Code, that is very ambitious with all the controversy that's going on. Asset recovery, I mean, we have seen failure after failure, not just in Liberia, but in Africa. These efforts fail often. So, yes, these are very bold moves, but me, I'm more results-oriented. Let's see what comes out of it will be important, because it's one thing making a bold move, but it's another thing implementing and getting results. And last, I will leave this. I've seen, I've been on around the block a few times, and I've seen bold moves by a president before, and they were misinterpreted. I remember Talbot had made very bold moves, and he allowed a party to establish after years and years of one-party state. He allowed that, and what later on happened, next thing he had was a demonstration on his hand that eventually led to his overthrow. Mm-hmm. So there has to be a careful way of making bold moves. It has to be strategic, and you have to always consider the country's security. And I'll leave it right.
And Jimmy, I'm not a historian, but you know what you said. So I don't want you to be that simplistic, right? That hey, Tobo allowed multi-party democracy and it led to an overthrow. I think it's a little more complex than that.
Well, if you want,
and if we use because two things happen side by side, so they are correlated.
You got Nambe here. Nambe can tell you the history. He knows a lot about it. But he allowed PPP to establish,
right.
And they became PAL, and the Moja then were looking and said, "Wow, all
right.
the movement."
I mean,
you know,
yeah. So the overthrow may have maybe nothing to do with allowing multi-party democracy. That's
but Dennis, the argument can be made because as historians can look at the same thing and interpret the same
right.
event
Because
different
I think it's side by side and say they have correlation because
you can't make the argument. There are correlations there. You can make the
where
argument.
are the facts?
What the argument is in the Tubman years there was a PPP. But Tubman stepped on the PPP, banned the PPP, and chased Detour out of the country, and Detour had to flee into Sierra Leone. So fast forward to the Tobo years, Tobo instituted liberal reforms under pressure, though, so he allowed the PPP to be registered. And what did the PPP do? The PPP said, no, we're not satisfied. We want the presidency. And Tobo told the PPP that election is scheduled.
What's wrong with wanting the presidency?
Election, I understand that, but that's what I mean. The discussion is going to evolve to that. Tobo told the PPP that election is scheduled for 1982. The PPP did not accept that. The PPP instead led a midnight march. You got to read these histories. They led a midnight march, and the midnight march, according to Bacchus Matthews, he was trying to protect Tobo from the oligarchs, the old guards of the PPP, the conservative in the PPP. But if you're leading at a rally midnight, I understand that, but
these things you are listing, how does allowing multi-party democracy, how did that lead to him being overthrown? I don't want us to make that leap, really.
No, but it's not making a leap. I'm telling you that you and I can look at the same event and have different interpretation, and that is okay. But what I'm saying to you, let me conclude with this now. Bacchus Matthews' midnight march has some evil, I'm not going to say evil intention, but has different intentions. That's all I'm going to say about it. But election, the other thing I want to say to conclude, election.
What intention, Mr. Sherry? What intention?
And because of the coup d'etat, election was pushed to 1985, and we never had a free and fair election until 2005. So Jimmy is absolutely correct. When you're doing something like this, history has to be your guide.
Let me give you one more quote.
I don't want us to go there. Maybe we can have a different show on that.
Era. I'm talking about specifically security. Right now he's saying we should go in a war crimes court. That is a very sensitive issue. We see already Yahya Nimle and Prince Johnson taking opposition. This is a sensitive issue, and if you think it's not playing with the security of the nation, I think we need to carefully examine every step we make. In this
and that's Prince Johnson has said that over and over. The only thing I disagree with that he said, because Tubman allowed this, he was overthrown. I don't want us to go there. That's all.
And that's wrong. That is flat out wrong.
But Dennis, he's an intellectual. He's someone that can look at one event and interpret it differently, and you can have a different interpretation.
And that's why I'm disagreeing with him.
You know, Victor, who participated in these things, can have different interpretation, and that's okay.
Who told you that? Okay. But let's conclude tonight on our topics. I want us to do this. We after 10 now. I want us to do this. So let's go around the room for closing.
See? Anyway, go ahead.
Let's close. We'll have this. April 14th is coming already. The unit UPP has asked to come here, and we're going to discuss all these things. So let's keep it for that. You know, yeah. Tubman gave it something. He pulled back. It's a mayor election. He pulled back, and so that's a whole thing that we can discuss. Let us not go there tonight. Let's conclude. Let me start with Reverend Salif. You're closing, and let's use 1 minute each so we can close under 2 hours 15 minutes. Go ahead, sir.
President Boakai is making some very bold and audacious move. I like them. Those were his campaign promises. Though he's only doing what he had promised during the campaign. He was going to do war crime court, audit, assets recovery. Those were things he talked about. And they are laudable. Those are, laudable steps he's taking. However, I don't have confidence in those steps because in the 100 days deliverables, if you look under the integrity and audit, January 23rd, 2024 was the start date to ensure that all public officials signed the integrity pledge, and the end date for that is May 5th, 2024. All public officials should declare their assets. And I'm not seeing the needle move anywhere in that direction. I don't know one public official who has signed the integrity pledge, and I don't see, apart from, I think maybe Musa Belete who declared his access, I've not seen ministers of JMB declare their assets. So that gives me, cause of concern. And finally, in my last 30 seconds, to say that, we can lead from the back. No, I totally disagree with it because in my capacity where I lead, I can lead from the back. But the president is the face of the country. The president is the first citizen of the country. Even his family is considered the first family. He cannot lead from the back. The president of Liberia is in chief of the armed forces of Liberia. He cannot lead from the back. He got to be the face. He got to lead the country forward. He's the first person anywhere around the world knows before they know any one of us. So he cannot lead from the back. He got to put his foot forward. And he has capacity, but his energy, we got to boost that.
Thank you. Glendy, you're closing.
I really wish I knew Pastor Salih doing
Dennis will send me your number. Dennis.
Yeah, I really wish I knew Pastor Salih doing weird time because I wanted to know whether Weir was leading from the side, the back, the front, or where was he leading from? Because last time I checked, I think it was Samuel Tuer that was leading the country. But anyway, I know you now, sir. Reverend, am I closing here? Political Reverend, let me close. I will follow up with you. I like your company. I want to follow up with you because I will hold you accountable, Pastor. And whenever I hear you, I come in.
You only made Jerome Gilman, so she's finding somebody else to.
I mean what?
So you missed Jerome Gilman, so you finally
you put everything on me.
Yeah, I'll put everything. But anyway, great show as always. We see the government making some strides. Yes, it's important to be critical of the things that they don't do right and hold them accountable. So we will criticize when it's necessary, and we'll give them the props when it's necessary. This is a new government. When 100 days come, we'll do what we can to them when 100 days, when the deliverables are not met. But I think it was a great show. I know we started the show talking about Victor alluded to it in his opening, talking about the NASCAR lady. We didn't get to talk about it. I thought what she did was wrong, but that's a subject for another day. I thought, regardless of whether her boss told her not to wear, I don't think she was being bullied. Clearly, she was not. I think she bullied the people who went there because she clearly didn't listen to them. But that's another discussion. But I just wanted to signify as a woman, I was not in agreement with what she did. I think it was wrong. I want to make sure my point is clear when it comes to her. So I don't want people thinking that I supported what she did. I did not. And I clearly made that known on my page also. But it was a great show. We'll be here again next week, Friday. This show can hold me from going to all my walkable places, but we're here.
Glendy, I think they went to bully her.
No, I don't think so.
I really, and I don't know what. Anyway, Father Washington, you're closing. Because I really like her. I really like her personality.
She's one of my women.
When she's too on ground, I really like that.
I did
go ahead,
Father Washington. You stand no ground.
Well, I didn't see how she stood ground and she was making some call. She should have made a call in the
No,
first
people went there with a letter who were playing courier services.
But she should have respected them. She should have respected them. She didn't have to call her boss.
What was
She didn't have to call her boss.
What was
She was acting on her own. She didn't have to call her boss to say, "Oh, my boss said no." Just tell them. She could have. She could have been firm and said that they didn't bully her. She was not being bullied. She bullied those people.
They came with so much power, senator, and
that was
a show with eminent people here.
No, they didn't. Let me tell you, you need to learn a little bit about who that individual is. Nobody can bully her. No one.
And that's what we saw.
No, that's what I'm saying. No one can bully her.
She didn't allow that. She didn't allow that.
There are a lot of things we may not know about her personally, but there are things that we've heard. No one can bully that particular lady there.
I think
that's Pepsi Yeke of CDC wife.
Glendy, I think you're missing something. What she said, if the president was sending letter, he should copy that office. Why the president didn't?
And that's my point with her. Once she said that was enough. The ridicule was to say, okay, let me call my boss, and to make it seem like she was listening to what her boss said. She already had pre-made her mind up on what she was going to do. There was no need for her to call her boss. Tell them this is what I'm going to do.
What does a senator, what does a city senator have to do with
let's move on.
And that's the same plan. I don't know why they went there. I don't even know why even Luther Tapper should not have even been there in the first place. But I just don't want it to be like she was bullied. Nobody was going to bully that woman there. Nobody.
That was a show of force. They went to show force. And she dealt with them.
Okay, Barry, when your church we got one can visit.
I'm in North Dakota.
Washington, you're closing.
It's too cold up there.
Oh yeah.
Visit summertime now.
Let me get your closing. Father Washington may be still.
We rushing us yet, and then what happened? You going somewhere?
No, I want to be respectful of your time. I know you. Father Washington, go ahead. You're closing.
Yeah, I think Janet, thanks for having me. I think it's been a healthy exchange. I think I'm glad that we had the time to provide information and provide some sensitive things for our people to learn. I can see the mojo of this government is high. I can see some individual ministers and agency heads, they are governors. I can see them making some efforts. I know our country is poor and government is broke, but I can see some efforts, and I like to laud them for what some of the things they're doing. I just hope they will continue, not just be after 100 days and then they give up. They just keep doing the best they can do in the circumstances that they find themselves in. The final thing I'd like to say is that we should not like these very people who have killed our people in this country and name our children, our wives, and our sisters, to keep bringing this whole scare tactic that based on security we should take time. I remember years ago I thought they were just killing all these people who just kill our people, just killing them, But now that we have the opportunity to take them to war crime tribunal, let us take them there. They shouldn't just keep hiding. The other thing is, be careful how you go about this. This is not time. I mean, that's the same tactic we've had over the years until we have gotten to where we are. So this is the time. The president now is making a bold decision. I expect the legislature, I expect the senators to come on board. Everybody comes on board. Let us do this thing, and and let's be behind us so that our country can move forward.
Thank you, and we'll continue to talk. It is very good. I always quote Dr. Famolo says it's better for us to talk than to fight because our mouth is not gone. And for those of you who are just maybe weary because we're critical or people are critical of the president, listen to why.
What Boakai told the money for?
Boakai na baby, Boakai get money. Yeah, you got your fresh man. You got your fresh man.
Oh.
You got fresh cake.
So just a jacket to ask Boakai where you got the money from? If that is it for?
Yes. You not got no right to ask Boakai that baby. Huh?
But now president, anything do people?
Baby, so we'll continue to talk. Go ahead, Mr. Nambe.
Yes, I like that lady, and I think she has met the president, so I understand.
Yep.
But listen, I know my sister here. She's a fighter, and I think she's a little bit jealous that this lady turned out to be much of a fighter like her. But 21 eminent citizens went to stare this woman down.
But you better slow down.
She chased them out of there, and they hightailed I think she deserves the praises that she's getting. But coming back to the president, I agree with Reverend Shirley here. I think the president is beginning to find his mojo. I think he's making some audacious and very bold moves, and I think he's to be commended. I know these are early days. It is difficult as yet to determine how these are going to turn out. But the fact that he has the audacity to do what President Weah refused to do, even President Johnson refused to do. I think we should give him his day in the sun. And so I am praying for him. I really hope this is going to work out, because our major problem is the thievery, the loss that this country suffers with impunity. People come in there, they can make rent within months, they build their mansions, and they walk away in the sunshine. Nobody bothers them. Nobody. So what Boakai is starting, whether it is going to succeed or not, I am very happy that he's made this move. I pray that it succeeds, and I pray for his success. Thank you for the show.
Thank you, Mr. Sharif.
Yeah, Dennis, politics and, the presidency, you see how fluid it is. So 3 weeks ago, we were talking about the army wives and stuff like that. If you had taken a poll right after that, Black poll numbers would have been in the doldrums. But right now, of course, we never ever take polls in Liberia. But if you take a random sample right now, his approval rating will be on the upper side without looking at the details of these proposals, especially the war and economic crimes proposal. This is something that's appealing to a vast majority of Liberians, in my opinion. And so if he takes another step to say, I'm publicly declaring my asset, here's mine, Mr. Khan, where's yours? Here's mine. And then, sooner or later, the rest of the government follows. You're going to see a different trajectory for him now, different perception of him. So leadership is about taking those bold moves. And I think that Jimmy was speaking to that when he cited Mr. Tolbert. And I'm going to go back to that. He took a bold move to do something radically different. So leaders can do that, and it puts them on an upward trajectory. I'm not saying everything is fine. Certainly, I like to see more of this. But yes, he has taken those bold moves. And so, I mean, what much energy you need, for a man who is, people consider, in his campaign, people say he was dead in the waters. What much more that can he do right now this week? So this has been a good week for him. So as you tally your weeks and the months and your years, that's how you win election. Even if he doesn't run in 2029, someone else runs from the Unity Party, they can ride his coattail. It's political coattail, as we say in politics. And so this has been a good week for him. He's in the Ivory Coast talking energy. And when he comes back, he talks some different things. And, sooner or later, you see that his approval rating is going to go up. And so that's what I want to say about this. And then finally, to the lady at the National Social Security who challenged Moafi Kane, Councilor Kane and his group, I don't call that, brave or whatnot. I think the group, actually, the fact that they went in, they were very civil. Yes, they wanted to stare her down, but they were very civil. Okay, Councilor Kane is a guy that I know. He's very, he's a learned man. And he's not going to associate himself with violence. And so he went in, he did what he had to do, and they back off, they went back. So they're going to take another step. You have to be, as a leader, you have to challenge, you have to do something about what is not right. And I think Boakai is doing something about this tenure. This tenure issue is not right. It's not tenable at all. I mean, I don't want to. I mean, EPA. What are you doing? What are you doing with tenure? National Social Security. What are you doing? National Lottery. For what? It's all about corruption and big government, inefficiency, laziness. So it's not good.
Thank you, Jimmy. You got the last word.
Yeah. Boakai is taking some nice, bold moves. but me being naturally meticulous, I pay attention to detail because of my profession. You have to check every single thing. If you miss one bolt, that's when the airplane door falls off or a whole bridge collapses. So you have to be very meticulous of how you go about things. And I honestly believe that Boakai is going to tighten up, like this missteps with this tenure thing. Instead of getting rid of tenure before appointing on all these other things, he's going to tighten up. He's going to learn from this thing. That's the type of person he has been. Now, at this stage, it's going to be more challenging, but I think we're going to see improvement as we go on. And these missteps, like packing a team before the team even knows what they have to do, when you already have pieces in place, all those kind of missteps, he's going to stop doing it as he learns, as he goes on. So that's what I expect to see in the near future.
Thank you so much, Jimmy. I want to thank all of you for your time again. Happy International Women's Day to all our women. We want to thank our viewers for watching, even those who will watch later. Always tune in to Focus on Liberia. We do it like no other. This is the only place where you have a holistic approach in broadcasting, in programming. Even some people are even saying better than LBS, because we have all kinds of programs. So keep watching us, and we're going to give you the very best. Until then, we close with our song that says, whether you believe President Boakai is doing his best or not so good, we are all Liberians. What is incumbent upon all of us is to do our very best to make our country the glorious land of liberty. Have a good night, and God bless you.
We are Liberian. Liberia is our home. Liberian people. Liberia.